Welcome to this Wood Solutions campus presentation on the methods used to grade timber and wood products. That is, sorting them into groups or grades with similar structural, visual or other properties and characteristics. A grade is a name or term used to describe the sorted group of material. A grade definition establishes the properties and characteristics acceptable in the group and the limits for each. There may be many items or criteria in a grade definition, and each usually has some limit or acceptable boundary. Grade definitions usually bundle their criteria and criteria limits into two groups. The first of these includes criteria that deal with the form of the piece, its size, shape, straightness, and similar characteristics. The second group deals with the quality of the wood in the piece. This can include aspects of its appearance and presence of natural features, or its structural capacity and size of strength-reducing characteristics. Several methods are used to grade timber and wood products. The first is visual grading. This is used for grading both structural and appearance products. The next is machine grading, used mainly for seasoned structural product. The last is proof grading, which is predominantly a grade verification technique for structural products. Let's look at each of these in greater detail. In visual grading, a trained grader examines each piece and assesses its characteristics against the criteria in the grade definition. This usually involves an assessment of the form and straightness of the piece, and the quality of the wood in the piece. The grader then marks the board with a grade. Either seasoned or unseasoned timber can be visually graded, and it is used to grade timber and wood products for both appearance and structural applications. If the boards are being graded for appearance applications, the criteria for board quality usually covers the board's visual characteristics. If the boards are being graded for a structural application, the grade criteria usually covers the occurrence of strength-reducing characteristics in the board. The grading in this video is actually check grading the material that has already been machine graded. Machine grading uses test machines or sensors to assess boards against particular criteria in the grade definition. For example, the timber may have to have a moisture content between 9 and 14%, be straight with particular limits for bow and spring, and have strength higher than a particular level when subject to a test load. Separate machine or sensor sets may measure one or several of the timber's characteristics, record its performance against a major grade criteria, and identify boards that do not make the target grade. This machine is reporting the size and deformation of boards on the production line in a pine operation. If the board has too much bow or spring, it is rejected for reprocessing. Grade criteria can be assessed through direct measurement of characteristics such as size and shape, or by measurement of reliable surrogates for desirable characteristics such as strength. Commonly used surrogates include bending the board under a partial load, which is used as an indicator of strength, or measuring acoustic characteristics of the timber or veneer as an indicator of density, stiffness, or other structural properties. Machine grading techniques are generally quick, reliable, and more consistent than visual grading. However, they do require that any measuring equipment is regularly calibrated and that rugged correlations exist between measured surrogates and the required grade criteria. Machine grading is used extensively with seasoned timber in major pine production plants and in plywood production facilities. It is generally not used for assessing hardwoods or any unseasoned timber. Proof grading is a grade verification technique, used after material has been graded by other methods. It is mainly used for testing timber and wood products structurally and only assesses structural strength and stiffness. With proof grading, samples of materials are loaded to the design load for a grade. If they don't break, they pass the test. If they do break, they fail the test. Given the number of boards that can be broken, proof grading is relatively rare. In summary, grade definitions usually group criteria and their limits by the form of the piece and the quality of wood in the piece. The main grading methods are visual and machine grading. Proof grading is a grade verification technique. In visual grading, a trained grader assesses each piece against criteria in grade definitions and assigns a grade. In machine grading, test machines or sensors assess boards against particular criteria in grade definitions and sort them accordingly.